The fire seemed smaller after that. Every crackle made me jump. Every shift in the shadows made me wonder if someone was standing just beyond our circle of light. The others tried to shake it off, but I could tell they were unsettled too. Jenna scooted closer to Alex, and even Tyler, usually the loudest of us, had gone quiet, staring into the flames instead of cracking jokes. "Seriously," I said, keeping my voice low. "I saw someone. They were right there. Just watching." Mark tossed his stick into the fire. "Okay, but even if you did, maybe it's just a hiker. Or a hunter. We're not the only people who use these woods. Then why didn't they answer when I called out?" I shot back. No one had a good reply for that. The silence stretched, filled only by the faint sounds of the forest, the wind brushing through leaves, the occasional splash from the lake. And then, cutting through it, a sharp snap, like a twig breaking underfoot. Jenna gasped. "Tell me you all heard that." We all did. Every head turned toward the trees. Alex stood, brushing dirt from his jeans. "All right, I'm checking it out. Probably just an animal." "Don't," I blurted. The memory of that still figure made my chest tighten. If it was an animal, it wouldn't just stand there like that. But Alex was already grabbing a flashlight from the cooler. The beam cut a white path into the woods as he marched forward. Jenna begged him to stay close, and he promised he'd just take a quick look. The light bobbed between the trees, growing smaller until it was just a faint glow moving among the trunks. The rest of us waited, straining to hear his footsteps. After a few minutes, the light stopped moving. "Alex?" Jenna called out, her voice trembling. No answer. "Quit screwing around, man," Tyler added nervously. Still nothing. Jenna stood halfway to the trees before Mark pulled her back. "Don't. Stay near the fire." That's when Alex's flashlight snapped off. The woods swallowed the glow like it had never been there. Jenna screamed his name, but it was drowned out by a sudden rustle of branches, heavier this time, like something, or someone, was running. Then Alex burst back through the tree line, panting, his eyes wide. He stumbled forward, nearly falling into the fire pit. Jenna grabbed him, shaking his shoulders. "What happened?" He could barely get the words out. "There's someone out there. They were standing between the trees, just watching me. Didn't move, didn't say anything. Did you see their face?" I asked. He shook his head. "It was too dark. But they weren't alone. I swear I heard more than one set of footsteps." For the first time all night, none of us had anything to say. The only sound was the fire popping and the steady thud of my own heartbeat in my ears. Finally, Mark broke the silence. "All right. We pack up, we leave. Forget the weekend. It's not worth it." No one argued. We moved fast, stuffing bags into the car, stomping out the fire, tearing down the tents without caring how they folded. But even as we worked, I couldn't shake the feeling of eyes on us from the dark. Every shadow felt alive. Every sound made me whip my head around. And just as we slammed the trunk shut, ready to pile into the car, we heard it again. A laugh. Not close, but not far either. A low, hollow laugh drifting through the trees. Welcome to the Eclipse Horror Stories. Please like and subscribe this channel before diving into the story. Thanks for subscribing. Let's dive into the story. The trip was supposed to be simple, just a weekend camping getaway before summer ended. There were 5 of us, me, my best friend Alex, his girlfriend Jenna, and our 2 other buddies Mark and Tyler. We'd all known each other since high school, so the plan sounded easy. Drive out to the woods, set up camp by the lake, make a fire, tell stories, and crash under the stars. Nothing fancy, just a chance to get away from work, school, and the constant buzz of city life. The drive out was full of laughter, the kind that only happens when you're stuck in a car with friends for hours. We sang along to terrible songs, argued about snacks, and teased each other like we always did. By the time we reached the dirt road leading to the campsite, the sun was already sinking, the sky painted orange and purple. We found a clearing just big enough for 2 tents, tucked between tall pines that swayed with the evening breeze. The lake was only a short walk away, its surface shimmering under the fading light. Everything looked perfect, exactly like the trip we had pictured. We worked quickly, setting up tents, gathering wood, and lighting the fire before night fully settled in. The crackle of flames, the smell of smoke, and the occasional splash of fish in the lake, it all felt like freedom. We cooked hot dogs on sticks, passed around bags of chips, and dared each other to tell the creepiest ghost stories we knew. It wasn't until the fire burned lower and the woods got darker that I noticed something. At first it was just a flicker, like a reflection, out past the tree line. I told myself it was just the light of the fire bouncing off the water. But when I shifted slightly, I saw it again, like a faint glow deeper in the woods, too far from the lake to be a reflection. "Anyone else see that?" I asked, pointing past the trees. The others looked, squinting into the dark. Alex shrugged. "Probably someone else camping. Don't freak yourself out already." Jenna leaned closer to him, pulling her jacket tighter. "I didn't think there were any other sites this close." Mark threw another log onto the fire. "Relax. Even if it is someone, so what? Not like we own the forest." That explanation worked for a while. We went back to roasting marshmallows, Tyler trying to see how many he could stuff in his mouth at once. The laughter picked up again, and I almost forgot about the glow. Almost. But later, when I got up to head toward the trees, planning to take a quick bathroom break, I froze. Just past the firelight, where the woods grew dense and shadows overlapped, something moved. Not just swaying branches, an actual figure. "Hello?" I called out, half expecting one of the guys to be messing with me. No one answered. The figure stayed still for a moment, then slowly stepped back into the trees, disappearing without a sound. The hairs on my arms rose instantly. I backed up toward the fire, my voice cracking as I said, "Did any of you go into the woods just now?" They all shook their heads. "You're seeing things?" Mark said, though his voice wasn't as confident as before. But I knew what I saw. Someone, or something, was out there. The sound of that laugh froze us where we stood. It wasn't loud, but it carried through the trees in a way that made my skin crawl. It didn't sound drunk, or playful, or even human in the way you'd expect. It was hollow, stretched, like someone pretending to laugh but not really meaning it. Jenna's hands tightened on Alex's arm. "Please tell me that was just an animal." "Animals don't laugh," I said before I could stop myself. The car suddenly felt like the only safe place in the world. We scrambled inside, slamming doors, locking them as fast as we could. Alex started the engine, the headlights cutting a path through the trees. The car lurched forward onto the dirt road, tires crunching over loose gravel. "Just keep going," Mark said sharply. "Don't stop for anything." We all nodded, silent except for our breathing. My eyes stayed glued to the tree line as it whipped past us, half expecting to see a face illuminated in the beams. For a while, the only sound was the engine. The road was rough, but the car kept moving, faster and faster. Then came another sound. A sharp thud against the side of the car. We all jumped. Jenna screamed. Alex swore and gripped the wheel tighter, accelerating. Something had hit us, or someone had thrown something at us. Another thud followed, this time against the back window. I whipped around, but the headlights didn't catch anything but dust and trees. "They're following us," Tyler whispered, his face pale. The road curved, and for a split second, I saw it in the mirror, a shadow darting between the trees, moving far too quickly to be anything normal. "Floor it!" I yelled. Alex slammed his foot down, the car jolting as it sped along the uneven path. Branches scraped against the sides, the headlights bouncing with every dip. My stomach lurched, but I didn't care. Getting out of there was all that mattered. The laughter came again, this time closer, echoing off both sides of the road. It wasn't just one voice. It was more than one, overlapping, weaving together into something that sounded almost like chanting. "No, no, no," Jenna kept repeating, rocking in her seat, her eyes squeezed shut. "Just a few more miles," Mark said through clenched teeth. "This road leads back to the highway." But the road ahead suddenly split. Two paths diverging into darkness. "Which way?" Alex shouted. "Left," Mark said quickly. "No, wait." It was too late. Alex swerved left, the car bouncing violently over the rougher track. We all braced ourselves, clutching at the seats. The trees grew denser here, pressing in closer, as if the forest itself wanted to swallow us whole. Then the engine sputtered. Alex's face drained of color. "No, no, no, don't do this now!" He slammed his foot down, but the car lurched forward a few more feet before stalling completely. The headlights dimmed, leaving us in near total darkness. The silence that followed was unbearable. We sat there, breaths ragged, staring at each other with wide eyes. Then, from the woods, came the sound of footsteps. Slow, deliberate, closing in from every direction. Jenna whimpered, covering her mouth with both hands. Tyler reached for the door handle, but I grabbed his wrist. "Don't," I whispered. "They're out there. They're waiting." A soft knock tapped against the back window. We all turned at once, and though the glass was fogged with our breath and the night air, I saw the outline of a face pressed against it. A pale, distorted grin stretching wider than it should have, eyes dark and unblinking. And then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it was gone. For a moment none of us breathed. It was like the air had been sucked out of the car along with that pale face. The window was empty again, but the image of that grin was burned into my mind. My stomach twisted, and I realized my fingernails were digging into my knees. "Start the car," Jenna whispered to Alex. "I'm trying." He turned the key, but the engine only gave a weak cough before dying again. He hit the wheel in frustration. "It won't start." From the woods came a sound I'll never forget. Dozens of feet crunching leaves, circling us. Not running, not charging, just walking. Surrounding. "We can't just sit here," Mark muttered. Sweat was dripping down his face. "If the car's dead, we're trapped." "No," I said quickly. "If we get out, they'll have us. That's what they want." As if to answer me, something scraped along the side of the car. Metal against metal, slow and deliberate, like a knife dragged across the paint. Jenna started sobbing, muffling the sound against her sleeve. Then, another knock. This time at the driver's side window. Alex flinched, jerking away. The knock came again, firmer, almost playful. I forced myself to look. A figure stood just outside, shrouded in shadows, but its head tilted in a jerky, unnatural way. The window was fogged enough that I couldn't see the face clearly, but I didn't want to. "Don't look at them," I hissed, tearing my gaze away. "Just don't." For a few heartbeats, it was only footsteps and tapping. Then a voice. "Come out." It was low, distorted, almost like two voices overlapping. My blood ran cold. The words repeated again and again, from different directions. "Come out! Come out!" "Shut up!" Tyler whispered, covering his ears. "Make them shut up!" Suddenly, a fist slammed against the back window, hard enough to rattle the whole car. Jenna screamed, curling against Alex. The chanting grew louder, overlapping voices building into a terrible rhythm. Alex twisted the key again, his face tight with desperation. This time the engine sputtered, then roared to life. Headlights flared, cutting through the trees. "Go!" Mark yelled. Alex slammed the accelerator. The car lurched forward, tires spitting dirt and stones. Shadows darted in the beams as we tore down the narrow road. Something slammed against the trunk, like a hand or a rock, but we didn't stop. The chanting faded behind us, swallowed by the roar of the engine and the screech of tires. We didn't look back. We didn't dare. The road twisted sharply, and for one horrifying moment it felt like the car might tip, but Alex kept control, knuckles white on the wheel. Finally, after what felt like forever, we saw it, the glow of the highway ahead. Civilization. Safety. We burst onto the asphalt, the sudden smoothness of the road almost shocking. Alex didn't slow down until we'd passed 2 exits, and the woods were far behind us. Only then did he pull over onto the shoulder, breathing hard, his hands trembling on the wheel. The car was silent except for the sound of our breathing. No one spoke for a long time. Jenna was still crying softly into Alex's shoulder. Tyler stared blankly out the window, lips moving silently like he was praying. Mark finally broke the silence. "What the hell was that?" he asked. His voice cracked. "People? Some kind of sick game?" No one answered. Because deep down, we all knew it hadn't felt like just people. The drive back to the city was a blur. Nobody wanted to speak, as if saying anything might somehow drag that nightmare back into the car with us. Every time headlights appeared in the rearview mirror, I braced myself, convinced the white glow belonged to that vanishing face. But it was always just another car, another stranger heading somewhere safe. We dropped Tyler off first. He didn't say goodbye, just got out, mumbled thanks, and hurried inside without looking back. Mark was next, standing stiffly on the curb, his eyes darting around like he expected shadows to follow him home. When the doors shut, it was just me, Alex, and Jenna left. By the time we pulled into my driveway, dawn was starting to lighten the sky. Birds chirped, the world waking up like nothing had happened. Alex turned off the engine but didn't move. His hands stayed tight on the wheel. Jenna's head rested on his shoulder, her eyes red and swollen from crying. "You gonna be okay?" he finally asked. I wanted to lie, to say yes, but the truth sat heavy in my chest. "I don't know." He nodded like he understood. "Call us if anything happens." I didn't ask what he meant by anything. We both knew. Inside, my house felt wrong. Too quiet, too exposed. I locked the doors, then checked them again. I closed the blinds even though the sun was up. I crawled into bed fully dressed, clutching my phone like it was a weapon. Sleep didn't come. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that grin pressed against the window, those words, "Come out," echoing in my head. Over the next few days, we all tried to move on. We texted each other, but the group chat went silent quickly. Nobody wanted to talk about it. Mark stopped answering altogether. Tyler deleted his social media and didn't show up to work for a week. Alex and Jenna acted like they were fine, but when I saw them again, I noticed the dark circles under their eyes. None of us were fine. The strangest part was what I found a week later. I'd left my backpack in the trunk of Alex's car, and when he dropped it off, I noticed something tucked in the side pocket. At first, I thought it was just one of my notebooks, but when I pulled it out, my stomach dropped. It was a scrap of paper. Old, torn, smudged with dirt. On it, written in rough black letters, were 2 words, "Still here." My hands shook so hard I almost dropped it. I ran inside, locking the door, staring at the note on the counter like it might move on its own. I called Alex immediately, my voice breaking as I told him what I found. He swore he hadn't touched my bag. Jenna got on the phone too, saying she checked the car the day after, and it was clean. There was no way the paper had just appeared. That night, I didn't sleep at all. I sat by the window with every light on, listening, waiting, convinced that if I blinked, I'd hear that hollow laugh again. It's been months since that trip. The bruises are gone, the fear has dulled, but the memory hasn't faded. We never went camping again. We barely even talk about it. But sometimes, when I walk home late or when I'm driving on an empty road, I get that feeling, that prickling sense of being watched. And every time, I hear it in my head, as clear as the night it happened. Come out.